All right, let's get into it. We've all heard the phrase, right? The 7 wonders of the ancient world. But, this isn't just some old checklist of buildings. It's a story. A really human story about ambition, genius, love, fame, and about how even the most incredible things we build can eventually just turn to dust.
See, the thing to remember is this was never some official list voted on by a committee or anything. It was basically the world's first travel guide, like an ancient lonely planet. It was put together by Greek travelers who were just exploring their known world and writing about the absolute must-see places that completely blew their minds.
And that really gets to the heart of the mystery, doesn't it? If these places were so spectacular, so wondrous, where did they all go? How is it possible that only one is still standing? To figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning.
So let's start with the list itself. Where did this idea of 7 wonders even come from in the first place?
Well, what's so cool is that the original Greek word they used was thamata, and that just means sights, or things to be seen. Pretty straightforward. But these particular sights were so incredible, so awe-inspiring, that the word itself had to evolve. It became thamata, which means wonders. These structures were so amazing, they literally changed the language.
So why 7? Why not 5 or 10? Well, for the ancient Greeks, 7 was the number. It symbolized perfection, completeness. You had the 7 known planets in their time, 7 days of the week. So it just made sense that the list of the world's greatest sights had to be 7. It was the perfect number.
And of those 7 perfect wonders, only one has managed to survive it all. Time, earthquakes, wars, the rise and fall of entire empires. And what's wild is that it was already ancient when the Greeks were writing their travel guides.
Of course, we're talking about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Just try to wrap your head around these numbers. We're talking 2.3 million stone blocks, some of them weighing as much as 80 tons. For almost 4,000 years, this was the tallest man-made structure on the entire planet. Which leads to the obvious question, how on earth did they do it?
For centuries, the story we all heard, the one from the movies, was that slaves built the pyramids. But then in 1990, archaeologists found something that turned that whole idea on its head. They found the tombs of the workers, and they were buried with honor right near the pyramids, with tools and food for the afterlife. There was even evidence of medical care, like healed bones. These weren't slaves. They were skilled, respected professionals.
And then, in 2013, it got even better. They found the diary of a man named Mirror, who was a supervisor on the project. This is a direct voice, speaking to us from 4,500 years ago, just casually describing his work. He talks about a highly organized, efficient construction project, not a scene of chaos and brutality. It's absolutely incredible.
Now, the pyramid was built to last for eternity, but not all the wonders shared that goal. Some of them served totally different purposes, reflecting all the different things that drive us as humans: civic pride, faith, and even personal grief. Take the Lighthouse of Alexandria. This was just a masterpiece of practical engineering. Its light, which was reflected by a giant bronze mirror, was supposedly visible from 50 kilometers away. It was all about guiding sailors safely into one of the busiest ports in the ancient world. It was built to save lives, and for over 1,000 years, that's exactly what it did.
But then on the total opposite end of the spectrum, you have something like this, built purely for awe and devotion. The statue of Zeus was so magnificent, they said that seeing it just once would change your life. And other wonders tell even more human stories. The great temple of Artemis? It was most famous for being burned down by a guy who just wanted to be famous. And the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus wasn't for a god at all. It was a tomb so over the top, built by a queen for her dead husband, that it literally gave us our word mausoleum.
Okay, but of all the wonders, there's one that's so mysterious, we're not even 100% sure it was real. This is a genuine historical detective story. The story we all know about the Hanging Gardens of Babylon is just beautiful, right? A powerful king, in the middle of a flat, hot desert, builds this incredible, man-made mountain of lush green gardens. And he does it all for his wife because she missed the green hills of her homeland. It's this perfect tale of love and engineering.
But there's a huge problem. King Nebuchadnezzar wrote down everything. He bragged about all of his amazing construction projects. But he never, not once, mentions these amazing gardens. And for years, archaeologists have torn Babylon apart looking for them. And they found nothing. Not a single trace.
Which has led to this fascinating theory. What if we've been looking in the wrong place this whole time? Another king, the Assyrian king Sennacherib, built spectacular gardens in his capital, Nineveh,
And guess what? He wrote about them constantly. We have carvings of them, and we've even found the incredible 80-kilometer aqueduct system he built to water them. It's totally possible that later Greek writers just got the two famous Mesopotamian cities, Nineveh and Babylon, confused.
So, with most of these wonders completely gone, and one that might just be a myth, why do we still talk about them thousands of years later? Why do they still capture our imagination?
I think this timeline really puts it all into perspective. It's kind of shocking, actually. Look at the Colossus of Rhodes, that massive bronze statue celebrating a victory. It stood for only 54 years before an earthquake knocked it down. For all their wonder, most of these monuments to greatness were incredibly fragile.
And that's really the point, isn't it? The real wonder isn't the stone or the gold that disappeared long ago. It's the powerful, timeless human emotions that drove people to build them in the first place. A pharaoh's desperate quest for eternity, a king's love for his queen, a city's pride, an artist's faith, even a madman's ego. Those are the stories that have truly lasted, long after the buildings themselves have turned to dust.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? We build these giant skyscrapers of glass and steel. We create these vast digital worlds online. But when all of that is gone, what stories about our ambitions, our loves, our fears, what will survive for the next 2,000 years?